I mean, let me just say this. You thought last year was crazy on some of these acquisitions. Just wait. The NFL is helping Howie Roseman, and that's the biggest mistake for the rest of the league. We have a lot to discuss. Free agency, you name it. Let's get straight into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. This video is sponsored by BetUS. Definitely go check them out if you guys have not, okay? Whew, so the bit of news we need to talk about today. Free agency's around the corner. Howie Roseman's got some work ahead of him. We got our OC. We got our passing game coordinator. We still need a QB coach as of right now, and we need to see what's going on with Christian Parker, getting, obviously what some of these assistant coaches, what's going on with them. But first on the market here, A.J. Brown had a big interview, okay? He talked about his dream scenario in free agency, a player that he would want here so badly. And he said Myles Garrett would be his dream off-season acquisition. We've talked about this a million times. What is it going to cost? How much do we value that 32nd pick of the draft? And a lot more. So nice to hear A.J. Brown's thoughts on that. And yeah, you got to remember this. We practiced with the Browns the last few years. We've heard rumblings of Garrett was going to leave and maybe come to the Eagles or go somewhere else or something like that. And he is ring chasing hard and he wants to win and he's hungry. And we all know this. We'll be talking about more free agents in this video. So let's, trades, free agency. We'll get into it. Let's just be patient here. Now, AJ did talk about Kevin Patullo as the new OC. A lot of Eagle players have loved this move. Lane Johnson, go down the line. Eagle players were so happy about this move. And I've read a lot on Kevin Patullo the last couple days. And let me tell you, he is very involved. Very involved with Jalen Hurts, how to use him, his strengths, his weaknesses with Nick, red zone offense, third down, first. And I've always, even on the sideline, I always see Kevin Patullo and Hurts talking, or Kevin Patullo and Nick always going back and forth. Like, he is very involved in what we do. Very involved. And the only thing he hasn't done was call a play as a coordinator, which he'll get the practice, obviously, in the offseason when we have joint practices and we have preseason and all that great stuff. A.J. Brown to say, it's a great hire. He's already familiar with us. We have a great relationship, and he knows what we need to work on because he's been here for a while. And that is true. I have not seen one player say a bad thing about this, about Kevin Patullo. And you guys got to remember something. When Cliff Kingsbury didn't take the job with the Saints as their new head coach and stayed in Washington, Kellen Moore took the head coaching job. And before anything even happened, okay, Kellen Moore... this was a strong consideration that Kevin Patullo was going to go over and be the new OC to the Saints. Okay, I think Kellen Moore did target Kevin Patullo, and Patullo was like, nah, I'm staying in Philadelphia. I think Kevin staying in Philadelphia was the plan the entire time. Because Josina Anderson says, well, the Eagles took some time off after the Super Bowl, and the coaches took some time off, okay? They already knew they were keeping Kevin Patullo. You don't think this was talked about before the Super Bowl? They knew that Kellen was gone. I don't know. There was definitely a backup plan going into it. Kevin Patullo gets his raise. He gets what he deserves, I guess we could probably say. Eagle fans are kind of mixed on this situation, but honestly, I feel really good about it. I do. The promoting from within makes you nervous, but if you want a constant and you want consistency, and this is a guy that's been here for the last few years, okay, that's as close as you're going to get into a hiring and consistency from last year they're going to get going to this year. Maybe he'll be better. I don't think Kellen Moore was some big top offensive coordinator, or do I think this offense lacked at times or could have done a lot more? Sure. I think this offense was great. But at the same time, we've always want some different type of plays, and we've always want some diversity in play calling sometimes, but it is what it is. I'm not even worried about that. That's just me nitpicking at things, but seemed like players were really happy about that. before we get into anything else, make sure you order some Philly Shakedown podcast merch. We got the full high sprung polyester shirt. If you guys have it, it's fabric, doesn't peel, doesn't fade. It absolutely looks amazing. A lot of people have ordered these shirts. Take 45 minutes to make, so a lot of love is put into the shirt. A lot of love is, like all our shirts are, but this one takes a little bit of work. Get the main thing T-shirt, the iconic moment in the hallway, Jalen Hurts, the Super Bowl trophy, reminiscing about his win against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Definitely go check it out. Link is in the description, and obviously the pinned comment in the video itself. So thank you so much for all the support. Now, Howie Roseman, what's gonna happen here? It's you go into an offseason where you have a lot of, your offense is pretty much locked up, besides Mekhi Becton and Gainwell. Okay, I get it. Not a big deal offensively. We're talking about really the defensive side of the ball. Vic Fangio being here for his second year, coming off of a Super Bowl. So the NFL is making the biggest mistake right now and giving the Eagles a lot of cap. Okay, and it may not seem like a lot, but let me tell you, if it's a lot more than what it should be, first of all, the Eagles get a cap increase like every other team. I think it's $25 million. There's $9 million from the Eagles that rolled over from 24 to 25. I don't know how much cap they started with this past season at the end of the year, because every number I look at is different. Every site I go on, every person that I ask, it's always different. So I don't even know what it is, but the final result is pretty much what I know as of right now. Ed Kratz put out a tweet the other day saying that with the $25 million, the $9 million rolling over for the Eagles now have $43 million under the cap. He says, I'm thinking Howie Roseman is going to do some damage with that. I'm telling you, dude, this is really dangerous. You put Howie Roseman in the best situation possible, okay? The best situation possible. Because you're telling me that the Eagles are going to have $43 million in cap space, and he hasn't wheeled and dealed yet? He hasn't restructured. He hasn't moved money around. He hasn't extended to save money. He hasn't. You're telling me, like, without all of that, like, realistically, guys, if he could literally stretch out this cap to $55-60 million. I'm not even kidding. This can go up to 55-60. If the Eagles go into free agency with $55-60 million, they're going to be able to retain a lot of guys. Now, not saying Milton Williams. I'm saying, like, potentially if Josh Sweat wants to be at the right situation, still wants to get paid, but still will take a cut, I think Josh Sweat could potentially be re-signed. Graham could come back at a cheaper rate. And I think you'll be able to retain Burks, especially Zach Bond has got to be signed. Like, he's your number one signing as of right now. Depending if, Slay wants to return. Is Isaiah Rodgers, do they want to re-sign him? We know that our defensive line is ready, so we'll see what goes into that. So there's a lot of different things that you could do, man. And especially I'm not saying they got to spend all that. $8 to $10 million goes towards the draft. So you always take about $8 to $10 million out of that, but $45 million with no moves yet made. That's really, really. That's a dynasty. This is a dynasty situation, bro. Yeah. Howie Roseman is going to be a powerhouse for another offseason as usual, and it's coming really soon, and I can't wait to see more of that going forward. Now, I want to talk about edge rusher, because obviously just say they don't sign Josh Sweat, Graham doesn't come back, and potentially I think you double dip here. I think potentially you could sign a rotational guy. You could sign a starter, a rental starter for a couple or whatever, and you go into the draft and maybe hit for a second time or a third time, just depending on what you want to do. Okay. Now, Trevon Walker obviously would be one. This is one that's been floating around the last couple seasons. Okay. He's going to his last year of his contract. It's cheap. And if his cap hit is cheap, or they feel like extending him to a void year where they can release him after 1 year or something like that, they can always do that. A low risk, high reward move. So if you don't go after the Myles Garrett move, which seems like a lot of teams are going to be going after this, a lot of teams are going to be going after him, and it really depends on what Myles Garrett wants, how much you're going to give up in a trade, and how much you're going to pay him at 29 years old, where you can go out and get work as a rotation. Look, you just came out of a Super Bowl, not even blitzing one time, getting pressure. I feel good about Nolan Smith on the edge. I feel double-digit sacks next season, no doubt. I feel good about Jalix Hunt. I think he's only going to get better. I mean, finally, like, he got a lot of playing time. He was getting better. And, I thought the playoffs, he was huge. He was definitely huge in the playoffs. So, I feel like, you got a couple holes there. And if Josh Sweat doesn't re-sign and he leaves and the Eagles decide, you know what, we're not going to re-sign him, they want to go get somebody else, I don't think Trevon Walker's a big answer, but I think you still got to go into that draft and double dip at that position. I think that's one move that you could make going forward. The one that everybody's talking about now, which is kind of crazy, is Joey BOSA, okay? I know Eagle fans probably don't like Joey BOSA too much. I don't really like his attitude that much. That's just me. But when the guy's healthy, he's a powerhouse. And when he's not, we've taken players that have had past injuries, bring them to the Eagles, and they play fantastic because of the weapons they have around and all of that, all right? Joey Bosa is a $36 million cap hit for the Chargers, okay? He's a cap casualty at this point. Most likely will release him, and now will be a free agent and can sign with whoever he wants. He's not going to be expensive. You don't have to give up picks for him because it's not a trade. It's a signed free agent, and he gets to pick whoever he wants to join and to win a championship and be a winner, finally, okay? This isn't a bad move in my opinion because, like, look, at the end of the day, if he doesn't do well in training camp, just cut him. Just cut him. You know what I mean? If they cut him and they drafted, like, somebody in the draft in the first round or in the second round, an edge rusher drops in the second round, they draft somebody, I'm perfectly fine with that. You know what I mean? I'm perfectly fine with that. A lot of these young guys have a lot of experience on this defensive line now. The main thing we've been talking about is Jalen Carter getting freed up. Putting a big bona fide piece next to Jalen Carter to do even more damage. Even Nolan Smith did a pretty good job. We need to move him to the other side, let him do his own thing there, and then really put that powerhouse next to Jalen Carter to really do some damage where offenses will have to pick their poison. So I think this move wouldn't be a bad move. And like I said, since 2016 has he been when he was drafted, okay? I mean, these numbers of games played is crazy. He's been a walking Band-Aid. He's only had like 1, 2, 3, maybe almost 4 healthy seasons. Not even fully healthy, but like 3/4 healthy. I'm just saying that, okay? He played 12 games in his rookie year. He played 7 games in 2018. He played 12 games in 2020. He played 5 games in 22, 9 games in 23. He had 5 sacks last year and played in 14. So not horrible, but, put Joey Bosa on the Philadelphia Eagles. What is he going to look like? He might look really good. And I'm willing to take a risk on that, and it's not going to cost you anything. That's the whole point of this situation going forward. So you guys let me know on the Joey Bosa situation, because when this popped up, I was like, potentially he could go join his brother, probably Nick, on the 49ers. Who knows? But what does he want more? What is he looking for? Obviously, it can't be money because he's gotten big contracts as a first-round pick, and now he needs to earn it again. And to earn it again, come to a team and ring chase. And with the Philadelphia Eagles, that's where you're going to ring chase and go get your next championship. I think this wouldn't be a bad move if they really want to go this direction. If you can't go down the Myles Garrett road. That's where I'm really going at with this. So what can you do if you can't give up 2 firsts, 3 firsts? I'm not trying to give up that much for a guy at 29 for a couple years. Like, it's just not where I'm at right now. I want to produce young guys, but if there's bargains out there that cost you nothing, this would be a bargain. And if he sucks in training camp, cut his ass. That's it. Over. Done with. I'll stick to what we have. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I still think, realistically, you have to, if they don't re-sign Josh Sweat, I think you have to double dip at edge rusher and free agency, whether it's low-risk Howard Ward or a big signing, and then going to the draft and getting a guy, either trade back from 32 to have 2 seconds and pick a guy that, because obviously edge rushers is pretty deep this year of the draft. So That's where I'm at with the entire situation. You guys let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think of Joey Bosa, Trevon Walker, who, and I know there's a lot more edge rushers that will become free agents, and we'll go over a lot more of that list. I want to get some of this other news out as well. And make sure you like the video because it helps out tremendously. I love you all, guys. And remember, shakes what up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.